this game ends up going the distance here. Simply the incoming lag. Welcome to the quarterfinals of the Gfinity StarCraft Masters EU Qualifier. Spawning in the top right position, representing Nuit Blanche, it's the French Protoss, PtitDrogo. His opponent, spawning in the bottom left-hand side, the Korean Zerg player representing Dead Pixels, it's True. Reasonably early, a drone scout there, just wanting to check out the Protoss, making sure nothing untoward is going on. We'll see that the gateway is going down. In the meantime, we have the hatch first. And the drone is going to, probe rather, is instantly going to scout this from Drogo. So relatively normal at the moment, with the exception of this drone being as annoying as Zergly possible. And now going to be blocking any potential Nexus play as well. Just extremely frustrating. But, well, at least the probe is going to be able to get it out of the way by the time, more or less, he has 400 minerals in the bank. And a good bit of micro there to try and maximize the amount of time he can actually block this for. He can actually take one more hit, and he's going to do that. And now he's going to have to get out of there. Drone actually going back into the main. Is he even going to steal a gas as well? No, both gases have been taken, so there will be no opportunity for that to happen. And the probe right now, well, it looks like it's just about going... Ooh, needs to be careful. And very actually good reactions to that Overlord. It looks like this drone... Well, it's on 7 hit points, so it can actually afford to take 1 hit. And that's exactly what's going... Ooh, never mind. It wouldn't have killed it anyway. It would have been able to get out. So, guys, Hero Drone Scout, Billy Bob the Drone, is doing an incredible job of this game so far. In the meantime, we have the third hatchery already down for True, so being very, very aggressive with his economy off the back of this aggression. PtitDrogo has not spotted this yet, but the early Nexus means that it's going to be a little more difficult for him to put too much pressure on that in the early game. It's not like he's going off infinity units off of one base or anything like that. We're playing it nice and chilled out. And this Overlord's actually going to be able to spot the majority of units that come out as well, because he knows the pylon is here. So he'll be able to spot the rest of the wall off when it occurs. The gap could be here or the gap could be here. And that's what True's watching out for. He's hoping he's able to just see the corridor of units that might be coming out of the natural expansion and get a good amount of data very quickly. And just a second gateway going down off the back of this. No super early tech just yet. I've got a Stalker incoming as well. And 4 Lings will be able to make their way into the bases of Drogo. We have 2 Lings in the main and 2 in the natural. Won't be able to scout anything completely crazy though. It's just the other gateway that's gone down at the moment. And we have a 3rd gateway as part of the wall off. Sorry, pardon me, a 4th gateway is part of the wall off. So we're going up to 4 gate pressure here. Keeping his options for tech open right now. And the Stalker is going to be able to pick off this Overlord, but only just. Nice little bit of maneuverability there with the Mothership Core to take that out. And we've got no gas mining at the moment for True. He's just continuing to drone up as much as he possibly can. He's got Zergling speed now to try and establish that early game map control. And a couple of units now out to harass the 3rd base location by the looks of things from Drogo. Tasty, tasty caffeine. This could actually end up being a bit of an attack here. Well, I mean, there's only 1 Zealot here, so he does have to be a little bit careful. Mothership Core is going to be able to help a bit. 2 Stalkers. Potential for 1 more warp in here. There are 2 Queens. I think he could do an awful lot of pressure. I don't know if I don't think he's taking anything down. And yeah, I think that really was the warping we were looking for. But a lot of Zerglings have now joined this as well, so this could end up being a bit interesting. Oh, excellent! Force fields actually trapping the Queens off of creep. We'll be able to kill one of them straight up, but the Zerglings are now streaming in. Are we going to see a recall? We are going to see a recall. I think that was a little bit too much there for Drogo. Nicely done, though, to pick off that Queen. And it looks like we're just going straight for the third base here. We're saying, okay, fine. That defense was pretty good. I'm going to have to just defend my own third. And, well, at least he's got the units back to protect it. The Mothership Core does not have a Photon Overcharge available because of that use of Recall. And that's actually really important because these Lings might be able to pick off these pylons. He's actually busy trying to attack here. And true, flooding with units once again. But excellent force fields from Drogo mean that a lot of these Lings die for free. It's just mainly energy. He's basically buying time so that he can swarm into the natural. Both of these pylons are now down. This army has done a good job, but these Lings are now in. 5 Zerglings in total. He has got a Zealot off the back, and Drogo is doing his due diligence here by replanting those 2 pylons down. So no extravagant amount of damage done yet. We still have these Lings being very annoying inside the main base. The probes are going to try and kill one off. I think one of the probes went down there. Total of 3 workers killed at the moment. And yes, the Zealot and Stalker should be able to finish this off. Still, there are an awful lot of Zerglings here. And it's just really frustrating to keep them confined. He's actually starting to run out of sentries to deal with both of these groups of Zerglings at once. We really just need to see a number of Zealots holding station. And Drogo is going to stabilize. He's on 88 supply. He's got 52 workers versus the 57 of True. He hasn't had to cancel the third base. Things are okay. The Twilight Council is coming down now as well. And he is going to stabilize here. He's going to breathe. We don't have... well, we have actually got another flood of units. But we didn't have another flood of units in the middle of that battle. But True has decided to put down the Roach one and go for another group of Lings. And I don't think True's intention is to win the game with this next little push. I think what he wants to do is transition into something else, and by the looks of things it's going to be Roach Hydra, as you can see from the production tab, but he wants these Zerglings to use as much of this sentry energy as possible. He knows that the zoning out, especially off of creep on Roach Hydra, very, very powerful from Protoss players. Force fields are amazing, guys. Speak to any Protoss anywhere, anytime. They will tell you this all day long. But use this group of Zerglings, waste all the energy on these sentries, suddenly a follow-up attack that looks a lot more healthy, and he's taking gold base off the back of it as well. So he's trying to force Drogo to be really active on the map, to really do his best to zone out as many of these Zerg units as possible so that he can use the energy in time for a potential follow-up Roach Hydra push. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. We've got 9 Hydras on the way, and we've got all of the upgrades coming in. We have the Roach speed as well. Going to be getting those Roaches last, wanting to get the DPS and the Hydras up. And PtitDrogo now, yes, he's moving out on the map as soon as he sees the gold base. Are these Zerglings going to try and force him to come back? Will he attempt to pick off this Sim City at the third base? I think he... I mean, he has 2 options. He can go to the back of this army and try and force the sentries to force field him out of the fight. Or he can try to attack. It looks like he's going to attack. Alright, here we go. Oh, no. Being a little bit indecisive. The gold base definitely has to get cancelled. There's no way around that. But I'm surprised he wasn't trying to force a recall, because he might have been able to take out this third if there was no recall here. Instead, he's going to come back and fight here. Decent force fields, but there are a couple of small gaps. We're not fighting with Hydras, but we are fighting with a lot of Lings right now. And True deciding he doesn't want the engagement without the DPS from these Hydras, and Drogo actually doing okay off the back of that. He got the gold base cancelled. His opponent's on 3 bases. He's on 3 bases as well, so he's relatively healthy right now. He's got +2 attack finish, and +3 attack is starting as well. He's supporting this with a Warp Prism. He's got his Robotics Bay about to complete, but we have Ling Hydra transitioning into Roach Hydra for True, and this could be dangerous right now, because I think these Hydras have the range upgrade, but I don't think they have movement speed upgrade right now, guys, and that means he's just very, very committal. These Hydras are not going to be able to readily run away. The War Prism sees what's going on. He's going for an engagement. He needs to get into a position where he can effectively force field off about half of this army. Moving backwards will not do that. If he wanted to do that at that point, he would have had to move forwards. That's the trick. This War Prism having a bit of a YOLO moment, but will survive and potentially be able to harass in a little bit. A Queen, though, is prepared already, and there aren't any shields on this, so we're going to watch this die. And then we'll... there we go. We all knew that was going to happen, guys. And then we'll see what happens over here. Now, a +2 attack is on the way. In fact, it's a very long way from completion for True, so he's not going to be able to use it for this engagement if that's indeed what he wants to take now. Good positioning here for Drogo, but actually True coming in from 2 locations right now. Good force fields on the left-hand side, zoning out some of the units, but the Hydra is able to attack the front lines from the back still, so a good amount of DPS still available to the Zerg player here, and oh, this is a little bit tricky. We have some hallucinated Archons, all of them going down in an instant. Actually, True with the Concave here, Maybe the force fields were good, but they weren't good enough. The Hydras were still doing a lot of DPS. I think this gets cleaned up because the Colossus is just doing so much damage. 6 kills and counting, being very careful to micro that back. And with Blink as well, it should be okay. But I think True actually got a decent number of Protoss units there as well. I don't think by any means Drogo was super comfortable there at all. And that, of course, means that if you're going to be trading this much, well, look at the number of roaches that are here, and the fact that he still has the gold base mining behind this. There's only 1 Colossus, 2 Colossi here. Guys, look at the sentry count with this army. It's absolument rien. So Drogo is going to find himself in some force fieldy related problems in a bit. He's taking his 4th base now, but this gold base is up for True. He's saying, why don't you come and get it? But it's very difficult for our Protoss to actually approach that right now. I'm just not sure he has the capability to do so. 19 more roaches on the way. We've got Burrow and Burrow movement coming in for True. So he's looking to potentially divide and conquer here. Keep his opponent on 3 bases. Keep the advantage he has on the gold base. And see if he can't move in. But he's deciding not to go against the top left. I thought those roaches were going to be moving up there. I stand corrected. Another group are going to be moving towards the bottom right to spot if anything untoward happening here. He sees where the army of Drogo is, and I believe he saw 3 Colossi as well as that roach died. And he will certainly be able to see them at the watchtower now. Does he choose to engage? I think with the Colossi it could be quite difficult. We have a second group of roaches coming on the right-hand side. Stalker saying, hey guys, don't you dare get past me. Okay, fine, you can do that. And, ooh, True might be setting up for a bit of a flank here. And, ooh. Okay, so this army has to go up right now. But he's going to go into a position where True can flank from both sides. He needs to recall or get destroyed. The recall comes out immediately. That's the correct decision. He loses a couple of units. That's about as quickly as Drogo could have done it. And now, how much energy is left on the Mothership Core? Almost nothing. He's got no photon overcharge. He's going to have to take this engagement. True is going to come in from 2 sides once again. And he's going to be able to target down 2 of the 4 Colossi instantaneously at the start of this engagement. I think this good engagement might mean that the trade is going to be quite favorable for True here. He's still maxed out versus 135 supply. The Colossi provide a lot of DPS. These Protoss units are scary, but True is just continuing to extend the advantage that he has over the gold base, and he's now taking the bottom right as well. So he's going to be going up to, if you count the gold as 1.5, he's going up to 5.5 bases versus a 4th base that has just started. And he's enjoying a supply advantage at the beginning of that. He's got +2 attack. Now, the upgrades are in favor of Drogo right now. He has got +3, +1. But True isn't just sitting there making units. He's got his +1 nearly complete as well. And when the numbers are this great, you're going to have to see very good force fields to make up for it. He's continuously threatening to flank. He's going to attack these buildings, force the army out into the middle, and then attack via here as well, guys. That's basically his game plan right now. There aren't enough force fields to stop this, unfortunately. Just the 1 sentry of the force field. That is this sentry's contribution to this fight, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that'll be enough to stop these roaches moving in. The 2 Colossi are doing an impressive job. The roaches aren't actually stepping in to kill off these Colossi right now, and he's going to have to bow and run away. I thought he was going to kill off these guys very early on in the engagement, but I guess not. He's got other things to worry about as well, as a couple of zealots warp in over here via this warp prism to try and take out the lair inside the main base, but that's a lot of roaches actually stop that. Very few number of workers killed this game. 10 versus 6. We have some JoRoSaR style play going on inside the main base. Drogo now sees this as well, and True trying his best to keep economically ahead as much as possible. I'm surprised this space hasn't been targeted more than it has. Killing off these cannons and these pylons does draw the army quite far away, and it can potentially lead to situations where units like this, you can see, do an awful lot more damage than they otherwise would. We've got up to 13 workers killed, but it's still 66 probes versus 58 drones right now. This bottom right base for True is now here and isn't being harassed at the moment, and now he's building nothing but roaches, but we have an awful lot of Archons morphing in for our Protoss player. We could be seeing just mass Storm Archon mode by the looks of things. Here we go. That's a lot of DPS right there, guys, and an awful lot of splash damage. And that's what he's going to need against units that are clumped up quite as much as these roaches. True coming in for another bite of the apple. He's got a second army that is currently jawsing it up. He can't see it burrowed. You can see the ripples, and here we go. Part 2 of the army coming in. The Archon's doing an awful lot of damage, actually. Is this going to be enough? He's trying to target down the Colossi like we were thinking he was going to do last time around. Gets one of them, not able to get the second one, and actually, the Archons with those two Colossi, able to do a tremendous job there for Drogo, and he takes the cost-effective trade against True right now, but True still enjoying a 30 supply lead. That Colossus doing so much damage. How many kills does it have? Only 2. It must be a new one there. I thought it might have been up to something like 15 by now, just doing so much. And, well, True still continuing to non-stop trade. He's building nothing but roaches behind this, and with the Archon, Stalkers, and Colossus here, he might actually have to start getting a bit worried, because he's down to 140 supply himself. It's 115 versus 150 supply in favor of True. But Drogo is definitely stabilized on 4 bases now. And this gold base, well, it's starting to get a little bit low on minerals. I don't think this army is quite big enough to launch any sort of counterattack, but Drogo definitely feels more comfortable in this game now than he did, say, about 5 minutes ago. Looks like my French is getting corrected in stream chat. Totally legit, guys. No problem. Corrected all day long. Definitely not my first language. French is actually my 3rd language, and unfortunately, I did it for 5 years at secondary school and then haven't spoken French in 10 years. So, I used to speak French with a vaguely convincing accent and a decent vocabulary, but we're talking when I was about 15. So let's move on from that. We don't want too many childhood stories here, as we've got a 3-roach hit squad. Of course, you need 3 roaches to one-shot a probe here, just taking out as many workers as he can, going down to 65 and burrowing instantly. We have another major engagement, though, at this 3rd. No force fields to prevent these roaches from escaping. They would, of course, be able to burrow under it as well. It looks like they're just going to try and take as cost-efficient a trade as possible. But with 4 Immortals in this mix, I think staying with this pure roach approach isn't going to turn out well for True at all. Drogo only on 140 supply right now, but his army composition is basically anti-roach through and through. True, though, it looks like he's just going with pure numbers here. He's saying, yeah, I know Immortals are good against roaches. Yeah, I know Colossi are great. Archons are fantastic as well, but what are you going to do when I just have 3 times the army? Oh, you're going to kill off my lair? That's great. But what are you going to do when I kill off all your production structures as well? We have a recall into the main base to try and stop this army, but look at these guys. This Immortal actually is going to end up doing a lot of work in possibly actually stopping these roaches from getting into place. Drogo actually mounting a very solid defense here, and he's taken out the lair. So maybe I was talking down his chances a little bit too quickly here. That was a really slick recall, and the Immortal here seems to be MVP on the grounds that these roaches just haven't been able to get the damage they want done. Yes, Drogo will have to eventually move his army over here to kill it off, because he will be able to kill off that 2nd pylon, but as long as he keeps the warp-ins going, he should be okay. Is this counterattack territory? Well, not quite yet. Again, 4 bases, main, mined out, natural, mined out. We really want to see Drogo try and capture potentially the gold base here. And the good news is, if it's just going to be roaches, then his army composition is great. He just needs to get the numbers up a little bit. He's up to 116 supply versus a maxed out True, and True is going for... He's not going for the head-on engagement. He's just going to make sure you can't mine from the bases. And... I don't know if that's the correct approach right now from Drogo. I feel like he needs to defend this attack just because of the sheer numbers involved, but True coming in now, that's neither here nor there, because these are the only 2 bases that are mining, guys. And we have roaches here threatening to pick this apart. We have roaches here that are definitely going to get this next. As a result, Drogo's not going to be mining. He has to win the game with this army. He's at 109 supply versus 197. That means True will be able to take at least 1 cost-ineffective engagement and still win the game. Because as long as he is able to resupply once, Drogo is going to be able to resupply 0 times. That is the idea right now. Pure Stalker's taking out this base right now in the bottom right. It's a bit of a base trade situation. Oh no, never mind. We actually see a recall back. And, well, let's see how effective this is going to be. We have a lot of heavy-hitting units, but the thing is, the roaches are already surrounding here. The Archon's doing an excellent job against the roaches up top, but down bottom, the Colossus has gone down. This Immortal is doing absolute work. It's got 15 kills, but it is going to go down as well. The number of units left here for Drogo, just 4 roaches. How much damage has been done by both players? Well, I think this statistic, ladies and gentlemen, will tell it all. True is still mining from this bottom right-hand side base, and I feel that is currently the difference between these 2 players. It's very close after that base. Look at the resources lost. 41,000, 41,000. But True has an edge, and he is also still mining in the bottom right as well. GG, well played, and True is going to be able to take this map. But wow, what a game, and what a holdout by Drogo there as True goes a game up.